I'm Dan May with Blackmagic Design, here showing the Blackmagic cinema camera. We decided we wanted to make a camera that kind of fits somewhere between the DSLR world and the cinema world. It has a lot of the DSLR-like look and feel, but it has a lot of cinema quality that we'd find on much higher-end cinema cameras. What we wanted to do is we wanted to find a resolution that was higher than video resolution. So it's a 2.5K sensor that's able to record to Cinema DNG RAW, which is great for color grading. We also wanted to be very workflow friendly, so we also record to DNx HD or to ProRes. All of those recordings go to a solid state disc that slides on the side. It's not proprietary, you can find those anywhere. But it also includes a Thunderbolt output. It's the world's first Thunderbolt camera, so we can go Thunderbolt out to capture directly to a computer. We also include our Ultrascope software, so we can do all of our scopes out on the Thunderbolts as well. It's an EF mount for the lens. Everything's touchscreen driven. It's a native 800 ISO camera, though we have settings for 400 and 1600 as well. It does have a refrigeration on the sensor, as well as the milled aluminum does help dissipate heat as well. We wanted it to have a really high-tech look and feel to the camera. We also wanted to have a lot of functionality as well. We include a copy of our DaVinci Resolve software with every camera as well, so it's straight going into color grading there. It's got a high dynamic range, as well as a 13 stops on the camera, so again, a lot of that cinema feel you're going to get on the camera. We're looking at shipping these in July of this year, and the retail price is $2,995.
Tell us some more about the RAW recording.
The idea behind the RAW recording is it's Cinema DNG RAW 12-bit, which is an Adobe format, but it's all the data. So there's no compression, there's no color sampling, it's everything. Lots of great applications can take that now, including Resolve, but Premiere, Smoke, or Combustion, these all can take the Cinema RAW. And it's a format that's really meant for that kind of high-end color grading that you would see in cinema. So it's an exciting format, but it's also pretty high data rate. So on a 512 gig SSD, you're talking about 45 minutes of recording with that. You would of course go to ProRes or DNx HD, and that will give you about 4.5 hours of recording on a similar size drive.
Questions have been asked, since there aren't a lot of buttons on the camera, how do you adjust things while you're operating?
So obviously there's going to be just the manual lens adjustments for focus. There's no autofocus controls, so we have a focus assist on the camera. Everything else is pretty much controlled through the touchscreen. We do have some iris settings we can change on there, some white balance settings we can change on there. But most of the controls are going to be either via the touchscreen or obviously doing the manual lens adjustments.
Where do you see this camera fitting into the ecosystem of cameras?
So I think it's a nice, it slides in between, like I think I said, sort of between DSLR and cinema camera. So a guy that has a bunch of DSLR cameras today, he could get this, throw it in his kit, already work with some of the lenses, already see the benefits of having that cinema-like quality. But at the same time, the independent filmmaker and these guys that are, renting cinema cameras, they'll still rent those really great cameras for that big shoot they want. But this is the camera they'll buy and they'll own for the other 25 days of the month that they want to do their shooting and going out there. So I think it's kind of a new underserved market that we're looking at here.
So really not something that should make Airy or Red quake in their boots.
I can't imagine that it would. It's something that is going to help complement in between, right? It's gonna bring up the DSLR guy, and it's gonna give the guys that are doing rentals other options for other day-to-day shooting. But those other cameras that are $30, $50, $100,000, they have so many great features on there that a lot of guys are going to need. But it has a lot of the cinema look and feel that those guys are going to want to work with on a daily basis as well.
What about the sensor size?
It's basically a 4/3 sensor. It's a little big short, but it really works out to be a 4/3 sensor size.
And where are you getting your sensor from?
What's that?
Where does your sensor come from?
It's off the shelf. You can buy it. It's a component that's not secret, but we're not really naming. We've done a lot of development with the guys. We did the bearing with them. It was a black and white sensor, so it's kind of a co-developed on the software side, but it's an off-the-shelf part.
Time code, gen lock?
No gen lock. We can put time code output. So like a D5, if you're going to shoot up a multiple camera shoot, that's going to be tricky to do if you're trying to get a lot of gen lock stuff, but it's got a lot of the same functionality you'd use in the cinema kind of world or a D5 experience.
Where do you see it going from here? I know it's early because this one isn't even out yet.
I know. Going from here, it's a ship the camera, continue to fulfill back orders. It's got USB on there to do firmware updates, so, we're very committed to getting this camera and making it a great experience for people, but Blackmagic is not usually one to leave well enough alone, so we'll have to see where we go from here.
And how many months are you back ordered already?
I've heard that we've got several thousand orders in already, so I'm not sure what that means month-wise, but clearly there's going to be a list going on for people to get these cameras.
Great. Thanks very much.
No problem.